Hello, welcome to episode 3 of Chatting Shit about the Venture Cup. Exciting one tonight, joined by 3 absolute spice lords. Elliot, Expenchu, Jay, Ginger Ninja, and Matt, Corden555. We all good?
Yes, thanks, Matt. You?
Yeah, great, thanks.
Yeah, good, thanks. Enjoying team building for this cup? Lots of spicy options?
Yeah, really liking it.
Oh, this is the home of the Spice Lords, as we've been named.
Yeah. First couple of team builds were definitely interesting. I wouldn't say they were good, but you know, I get there.
Joe, my team now looks nothing like my first draft, and I don't think it's any better. I think it's just different. So I think there's definitely merit here to just going with what you enjoy. Like there's always.
Yeah, I did that with the first team I threw together. I think I did it in about under a minute, where I just went, I want to use that, and that. That'll do, and then just sort of went from there.
Fair. Well, I mean, my first one ended up with Tropius, Abomasnail, and Pidgeot, like double grass, double flying, and I just thought that seems a bit strange. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, I'm not going to go quite that far back, but yeah, I think there's a certain element of going with your gut here. I think, but yeah, a bit of a legendary theme tonight. We're all picking nice, expensive mons here. So get the Stardust out, everyone.
Stardust. Who even needs it?
Exactly. Like it's there to be spent, innit?
Yeah.
I'm sick of seeing all these people with millions of Stardust. What's the need?
I've already spent 600k Stardust this month and a lot of rare candy. And I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. But I'm up first tonight, and there's a electric legendary Pokemon that I really love, and I'm feeling a bit dirty because I'm going with the other one tonight. I'm going with Raikou, going with Shadow Raikou to be precise.
Nice.
It's strange because I was looking for a mon. I stumbled across it when I was looking for something that beats both Deoxys and Frostlass. That wasn't mad expensive in terms of points that it takes your team up. That it takes up on your team. And Raikou popped up because of course it has Shadow Ball and it gets there really quickly because it's got Thunder Shock. And then I thought, well, why is it running Thunder Shock? It's got Volt Switch.
Volt Switch.
Yeah, and then I thought, why is it recommending the normal one, not the Shadow one? So I had a look around at some sims, and just to see what it was running, and that all 4 in terms of Volt Switch or Thunder Shock and Shadow versus the non-Shadow. There's nuances there that make them all a bit different. But I think when you can run Volt Switch, I feel like you should run Volt Switch. And Volt Switch on the Shadow is an incredible closer. Like in the Zero Shields, you beat normal cast form, Deoxys defense, Hypno, Vigoroth, Medicham, Snowy cast form, all these mad spammy things that are quite bulky. And it hits incredibly hard. Like this is a mon that knows, this is an electric type mon that knows Volt Switch, Wild Charge, and Shadow Ball. And in the one shield scenario, it hits so hard that it beats Gliscor. Which is just a bit ridiculous. And actually, it's a bit of a throwback to last month when I was looking for things that beat 2 things. I forget what those things were, but then just didn't completely crap the bed versus Munchlax. So I was looking for things here that beat those 2 things, Deoxys and Frostlass, that just went awful against the Lickers. And actually, if you go with the normal Raikou rather than the Shadow and Volt Switch there, you beat Lickitung and Snorlax in the zeros. You if you Volt Switch up to two Wild Charges, tank the Body Slam just about on the way up there, and throw them back to back. You're gonna beat Lickitung and Snorlax, which I thought was a bit wild.
That's seriously impressive.
Yeah,
They've got some bulk too.
They have. I mean, you can't quite get to the back to back versus if you're using the Shadow. But what you could do is because it's 3 Volt Switches to a Wild Charge, right? You could 6 to the double. You could throw after 4 and get the debuff. Like then sorry.
And then jump out quick
Well,
with a shadow.
Yeah, either that or like then the licks start adding up, and the opponent might go for like try and get a bit cheeky and think, oh, I can farm down here because you've gone for 4. It's then only 2 to the next one, and they might have not been concentrating and miscounted. So they might then go for the lick down, and you can sort of cheekily catch them out before they throw the body slam. So there's a bit of sneaky play there.
You're trying to force their hand, aren't you? Though, I guess in a way.
Yeah, and that's what it does. I mean, it's an incredible closer. I sort of appreciate that I'm flitting a bit around. The main thing I want to talk about is just wildly impressive. But I think it's just worth pointing out that Thundershock is worth considering if you want to beat Mew and Frostlass in the ones. Just it being that little bit quicker than Volt Switch helps you get to the Shadow Balls to beat Mew and Frostlass in the ones. But the Shadow.
Go on.
Oh, go on, mate. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, does it need Shadow Ball to beat the Frostlass? I'm imagining a Shadow Wild Charge is just going to obliterate anything.
I'm not entirely.
Especially after the Volt Switches.
I think the normal one does. I think if you're not running Shadow, I think it needs to hit the Shadow Ball. If you're running the Shadow one, Volt Switches and Wild Charge is fine. But it's getting to the second one is where the problems come versus Mew and Frostlass.
Yeah, because of the power of the snow on Frostlass. What would win CMP there? Would Raikou win CMP?
Raikou would win CMP. Yeah. It's got my usual thing where I say it's not that bulky. It's got a similar stat product. It's not that fragile. Sorry, it's got a similar stat product to Tyranitar.
He's a beast.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah,
Wild Charge hits Frostlass for 107, and Frostlass has 128 HP.
There you go.
From a Shadow Raikou. That's terrifying.
So do you want to know what's even more terrifying? I mean, the things that resist electric here are sort of the common things. You're looking at a Bomb of Snow and the Mud Boys, right? And the bulkiest Mud Boy is Wishcash, I think. So from a Shadow Raikou, 2 Wild Charges and 1 Volt Switch. So if you farmed up a lot, a Volt Switch and 2 Wild Charges will kill a Bomb of Snow. So you don't even have to go for the Shadow Ball. If you do go to the Shadow Ball, that does like 65%, so you could do that. And Shadow Ball will 2-hit KO Wishcash. Shadow Ball just does just over 50% to a Wishcash from a Shadow Raikou. But the big thing with the Shadow Raikou with Volt Switch is in the 2s, right? And those numbers I've just given you are important because in the 2s you'll probably end up Volt Switching things down, and you might not get 2 shields back. You might finish with a lot of energy. But in the 2s with Volt Switch, the list of things you beat is just insane. This is no baits either. You beat Medicham, Deoxys Defense, Vigoroth, Galvantula somehow, Cresselia. I'm assuming that'll be straight Shadow Ball given the Sims. Snowy Cast Form, Mew, normal Cast Form, Dusclops, both Hypno and Shadow Hypno, and Frostlass.
That's a big bunch of names right there.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
And as I say, if you don't get both shields back, you're going to have a lot of energy, and something that comes in is going to give you that shield back. Do you know, like sometimes I'm chatting shit when I come up with silly mons. I just think, oh, there's no way I'm actually going to run this, but it just might be good.
Like you're actually stressing me out because I'm like, I've got to run this now.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, that list makes me. It's quite a nice list.
I feel like that pairs well with mine as well.
Yeah. It's the highest ranked electric mon, 1 pointer.
Is it?
Yep, it is.
Oh wow.
Rank 50 at 1 point. Pachirisu is 8th, but that's a 4 pointer. Lantern is 22nd with 4 points. Galv 6 points, 27. Graveler Alolan 4 points, and then it's Raikou 50th, 1 point.
Nice.
I think it's a shout, you know.
It's 16 points places ahead of Alolan Raichu, which I think would be the obvious electric 1 pointer.
Yeah.
I really like the coverage of Shadow Ball.
Yeah, the Shadow Ball is just yeah. Obviously, then you've got your Volt Switch and the Wild Charge. So.
And you're not weak to lick, like a Alolan Raichu is.
Yeah,
True.
he's going to hit like a truck. Raikou's always hit like a truck, and you're going to get shields. No one wants to take a Wild Charge, and nobody definitely wants to take the Shadow Ball. So,
I'm trying to think when I last saw one used. Was it like Jungle or something?
What was it? Rainbow is the one I was thinking of.
Was it Rainbow? Yeah.
Where Quagsire was the big Quagsire and Mantine were the big things. So it was a bit risky going with an electric type, but yeah, it was. Yeah.
I remember it being crazy fragile. So I feel like Shadow
Yeah.
one step.
But back then it only had Thundershock because Volt Switch wasn't a thing back then, and I think Volt Switch, even if there are a couple of matchups that Thundershock gives you that Volt Switch doesn't, like the ability to farm something down, and then throw it the next mon is so huge. I just feel like if Volt Switch is an option, you should run Volt Switch. Certainly on an electric type mon. On something like Mew, obviously there's a bit more nuance there, but yeah, I feel like Volt Switch is a much better option than Thundershock, all things considered. Like that big list of things I reeled off, those names with those two shield matchups, you're not getting any of them in Thundershock, I'm almost certain, because you're not gonna. Well, most of those things are bulky enough to survive the hit on its own, and it's not like the Thundershocks are going to add up. The Volt
there's no fast move pressure.
Yeah.
I had a couple of great games in Commander where I would safe swap an Alolan Raichu and then just go 3 Volt Switches straight to the Wild Charge. And because people think, oh, he's gone to 3, it's going to be a Thunder Punch, he doesn't want to be debuffed, then you land the Wild Charge, and then they're like, oh shit, so let's say it's a Muck, and then you're going to shield the Dark Pulse anyway, but then it's in farm down range for the Volt Switches. So like it's like safe switching it and just going straight for it. People are going to be like, oh well, might not sure. Raikou, it doesn't have that bait, but still just going straight Wild Charge is so good. It pressures. It's going to pressure so hard, especially from a Shadow as well.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't even need the bait. It's like if you're just going full, well, you're already committing to the Shadow, so your attack weighted anyway. Just go at it. You're going to take all the shields, or you're going to kill definitely one thing if they don't put a shield up. Like I say, you go in all out attack. The point of Shadow.
Go big or go home, man.
Yeah,
that's it.
I like it.
I'm told by people who played the Retro Cup in GBL that shield advantage is a big thing here. So having moves that can hit ridiculously hard, that come quite fast like that will get you a shield. If you've got enough versatility in your 6 to have a couple of things that have got neutral matchups across the board versus your opponent in the back, something like Raikou could, early game. I mean, I've reeled off the 2s. You could use it as a safe swap if your opponent hasn't got a ground or a grass. But especially if Dragon type damage is coming from Gyarados or Charizard. That's a shout.
You eat those for breakfast.
How many Volt Switches? How many Volt Switches would the Shadow Raikou take to farm down the Gyarados?
Well, I don't know exactly, but you won't get much energy out of the other side. I know that much for sure. Let's have a look. Gara. It looks like it's just.
Boys.
Go on.
1. No, 3. I'm saying.
Yeah, 3.
It is in fact 4.
Shut up.
They do.
That's a bulky Gyarados.
They do 35. They do 35 damage each, and Gyarados has 121 health on the sim that I'm looking at. So it's really it's 3.5, but you get it's free energy really.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I guess the one you could possibly see as the biggest be Pikachu. Dan will be rubbing his little mitts, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's going to be a happy boy right now. Yeah. I mean, it's GG if you end up hitting a Diggersby. But that's the sort of thing, though, isn't it? Like from a 1-point pick, there isn't a 1-point pick out there that you're going to want to bring every game. So, and that's probably the case with anything that gets discussed this month. With the possible, and that's why we're talking about 1-point picks, because it's much more interesting talking about them than it is like Deoxys Defense or Latios or something like that. So,
yeah.
Cool. Well, there's not really much more to say on Raikou. It sort of does what it says on the tin. It's going to resist your flying types. It's going to hit things ridiculously hard and then die.
Goes out in style though.
That's it, exactly. It's going to make
And it
for
looks
quick
cool.
games. Yeah, it looks damn cool, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think I called mine Shere Khan. It's like a kick-ass tiger.
Oh, from Jungle Book.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I
Nice.
tell you what, if I see a Shadow Raikou on my opponent's team, I'm gonna shit it. Now after this, like
Yeah.
I feel like it'll have so much bench pressure. You can, if they've got a Mud Boy, they're gonna bring it.
Yeah. Like, I'm not being funny as well. Like, there's not often that you've convinced me to pick something, Matt. So, well done.
Oh, have I actually? Have I actually?
No, yeah, I'm fully invested in that now.
Right. Awesome.
I'll see it at regionals.
Oh shit! Yeah.
What else are you pairing it with, Matt? Just asking for a friend.
I can't give away all the strats. No, I don't know. I've not looked that far into it. Just bulky stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn,
Lugia, I heard.
Why not? Cool. Well, as I say, not much more to say about Raikou. It's pretty what it says on the tin. So we'll move on to your pick, Jay, which is a bit more nuanced, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I've fallen in love with this, mainly because of factions. Not used it too much before. I was going to go for Pokédex number 89, but I was peer pressured into sticking with the legendary theme. So I'll let you work out what 89 was. And it's Pokédex number 62, the Freezer Pokemon, Articuno. So, sorry, Pokédex number 144.
I was going to say, yeah, 62.
I don't even know what I'm doing. I was too busy invested in Pokédex number 89, that's why.
Thing is though, Dave, can you imagine Dan's face when he heard that? Like that.
I know, yeah. I know. There's me trying to be fancy. At least I didn't not say it like some people do.
Oh shit! I
corrected
missed mine out, didn't I? I missed it this week. Not even got it written down. That's it. The meme will have to come out.
I got it right in the end. So yeah, Articuno. I'm going with Ice Shard, of course, Icy Wind, and Hurricane, which is what PvPoke is recommending. I know a few people might want to stick Ancient Power on it, but for me, I'm a fan of having a bit of a nuke on there. You don't want to see rock. Like, rock types are not going to be your friend. Obviously, fire isn't too good either, and electric and steel. But other than that, you're pretty good. I've enjoyed it in factions a hell of a lot as a safe switch. Obviously, yeah, you can just spam out your Icy Wind debuffs, and then there's a surprise Hurricane. The odd Talonflame out there with 2 shields, thinking that they can take an Icy Wind, and then you hit them with a Hurricane. That's your chance.
That's your chance to edit up the screenshot. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
I had to do that because the lads in my faction were like, you need to get the screenshot on there. So
I had no idea what was happening.
I know, yeah. I'm thinking I'm like PvP Steve. But in the 2s, it's pretty just good across the whole board. Like in the 2s and the 1s and the 0s. I mean, ideally it's not a closer. It's a lead or a switch really. You're getting your 60% in the 0s, which isn't amazing for the win rate, but then 66 or 69 in the 1s and 2s. And obviously, that debuff is always fun, and then the nuke. Lots of pretty nice wins, and some really interesting ones where PvPoke has it you're playing it. It has you playing it in just a mad way, which made no sense. So I've been sat here tonight going, why did I lose that? And it's because it's just not having you throw your moves until you've got back to back, and then because you haven't debuffed them. Yeah, it's it wants you to bait when actually you don't need to bait. You can just go straight Icy Wind for a lot of it. So Medicham, and I know you're a flyer. and Medicham's a fighter, so you're supposed to beat fighters. It's a bit of an awkward one, but put it into context. This is a 1-pointer, and Medicham is a higher, and especially a lot of people have got a pretty good rank now with the level 50s, but the ratings are dead close, and like an Ice Shard or 2 sways it. As long as you just keep going Icy Wind, unless it's in the zeros where you can throw your Hurricane, but for the rest of it, you can pretty much just go Icy Wind and properly just debuff it to death. They realistically they need to land the Psychic, and a lot of them are I'll just be like, oh, it's a flying type, so I'll just throw Ice Punch, and if they do that, then if they do just about scrape it, which the rank 1 will, they come out with like super debuffed and enough health for you to just farm down with whatever you come in with, so you can get a bit of an energy gain. Other things like a Bomber Snow, that's quite close, but again, because it had you like throwing back to back, you just go straight Icy Wind and you'll be all right. But the zeros is a bit dodgy. The Shadow will beat you in the zeros, so but like I said, realistically you don't want to be taking it into matchups in the zeros.
No.
And there's some interesting ones, like Quag. Obviously the Stone Edge from a Quag will just destroy you, but if you switch in and they switch in on you with a Quag, if you've got an Icy Wind head start, like you'll get to debuff them twice, and then you can tank a Stone Edge after you've debuffed them twice, and then you can you're possibly able to farm them down before they get to the next one, or you have to throw. But either way, you'll be able to win switch against a Quag just going straight Icy Wind. I've managed it a couple times in factions, so it was just like, it's great. it was just like, they're just going straight Stone Edge, and you're just like, I'll tank this one now, and they can't mud shot you down. So you can either Ice Shard them down and come out with an Icy Wind ready, depending on how good their Quag is. Or if they've got a really high one, you will have to throw. But stuff like that where it's just been pretty nice for me.
Yeah.
You don't want to see the likes of Defense Deoctus. Like that one's pretty. That's pretty heavy. Frostlass and Lantern and like things like that, Light Lapras. If they ain't good matchups, so that's where you've got to probably think more with your lines, whether you're going to have it as a switch or not, because you don't want to be getting hard countered. But it does have, just generally across the board in the twos, just really nice matchups. And like I said, if it's a loss, it's a really close loss where when you come in, you're just going to get an energy lead and take no damage because you've debuffed them to death.
Yeah, I think it's Articuno was something I was looking at the beginning, and I thought it was interesting that you mentioned it as a fly that's flies meant to beat fighting types, but actually the way you describe it, rather than thinking of it as a flying type, it's more like an ice type that isn't weak to counter.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I suppose is it's like you don't want to be relying on it to take out the fighter, but it's not like sometimes you might, if you have a bad lead into a dragon, like switching your Bomber Snow in is like throw it with danger because they'll have a counter user in the back.
Yeah,
that's less the case here with Articuno because it's not actually weak to counter. I mean, everything's a little bit weak to counter, isn't it? Like it's a bit of a bust.
Yeah, it's a bit oppressive, but yeah, once you get your Icy Winds flying, it's all good.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Articuno. Pick Team Mystic, so he is my bird. I used him absolutely loads in early days GBL. I had him paired up with Machamp, ironically, and I can't remember what else, but as a lead, he is pretty safe unless somebody's using rock or electric. They're like your walls almost. He's because of his defense is so bulky. He's not going to faint over at the slightest, couple of counters. He can even farm up to an Icy Wind and then swap out. I mean, the way that I played him, I used to get the Icy Wind stacked, bring him sort of like mid game, and then start hitting them with debuffs. I mean, that was just personally how I found it. How I found I liked playing. He is bulky. Unless you're doing super effective, he can take a few hits. He can farm up a bit of energy, and then come back in mid to late. I mean, you spoke about obviously having the Hurricane, big closing move there. So if you get some energy on him, bring him back in a bit. I mean, you could even play him as a. I'd probably play him as a lead, dependent on obviously the team, because like I say, he can take a few hits, get a bit of energy saved for you, and then come back in, hit some debuffs, or if all the shields are down, one shot him with a Hurricane. He's a cracking mon for that. He's very versatile and quite a tactical piece. I always found him to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I always think this. Oh, go on,
so I was just going to say, and a lot of people just don't shield the Hurricane as well because you just think you're going to go for the icy wind. So even in practice, like, you know, I think I've hit like 4 Bomber Snow with a Hurricane, just like you know, shields up, and you're just like,
oh yeah.
Call it Blizzard Dugong syndrome.
Yeah,
we've seen that one before.
On Dugong. No, people just think of Dugong as like an icy wind machine.
Yeah.
And then they're hit with a blizzard and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Delphox with Fire Blast in Commander Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, Fire's another one it doesn't really want to see, like, but even like stuff like, you know, your Marowaks and that, they don't want to take, really don't want to take a Hurricane.
Yeah.
They can't, and if they, some mad people out there probably try and farm you down thinking, oh, it's fire against ice, and then, you know, if they don't shield, they're going to be in for a surprise. And
those weaknesses, fire, electric, and it's not great versus water either, but those 3 weaknesses are all covered by dragon as well, so it makes it quite easy to bodyguard, especially with something like potentially Kingdra, which has got moves to hit rock types in Muddy Water and Power Whip, although Muddy Water is absolutely useless. Like, it's an awful move. Like, it's got Draco Meteor. Run Draco Meteor if you're running Kingdra. Like don't run Muddy Water. Yeah, no, what I was going to say was, I think because it's similar to sort of Galvantula and Dugong as well, like moves with a defense, with an attack debuff, I like him in the lead because if your opponent switches out, if you win the lead and your opponent switches out and sort of stay swaps, you can stay in, debuff, and then switch. Like if you've not got a particularly good answer to their save,
try and like guarantee you winning the switch back.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Articuno in the lead personally, but I can see how with the right lead, running as a switch would work nicely as well. Absolutely. Elliot, any thoughts on Articuno?
Yeah, I think it's a really cool pick. I like what you said about it. Have you looked into Shadow Articuno? I've glanced at PvPoke and it seems to be much worse.
Yeah. Like basically, yeah. I had a very quick look at it myself to be like, but yeah, it's not. It's a bit underwhelming in the Shadow form because you know you're only going to get to like one move.
Yeah.
Really. So it's like, and there's no baiting element for you either. You're either going to get an icy wind off, or you've got to try and go for the Hurricane.
Yeah.
So, whereas at least non-Shadow, you can sort of give yourself the option.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what was it? There was a meta. I can't remember if it was a Silph meta. It was like a GBL meta, maybe like Flying Cup or something, where it definitely wouldn't have been Flying Cup, but like where the Shadow Articuno was just like objectively better.
Sunrise.
Yeah, Sunrise.
Sunrise. Yeah, that's the one. Obviously, not in this case. That's the thing. I like Articuno as like, yeah, just an icy wind machine. You know, getting out as many as possible, and it's not about how much damage you do with it. It's about how you can flip and make your opponent not know how the matchup's going to end up.
Yeah. I think in Sunrise the Shadow helped versus Vigoroth, and you could take the 2s against G-Fisk. Of course, G-Fisk isn't here, and I think Vigoroth's going to be. I mean, I've not seen a team with a Vigoroth on it yet, so.
I mean, Articuno is fine against big.
Yeah.
So that's all good.
Cool. Well, let's move on to Elliot's pick. Whose pick is actually even more expensive than it might seem at first.
Yes.
Which I'm sure he'll get into.
I'll get into. Yeah, I've got a fat Word document prepared, and you'll be pleased to know that the first 3 words are Pokedex number 381. It's Latios. So yeah, it's a really, really cool pick, and I will explain why. So Latios, not to be confused with its slightly bulkier, more boring cousin Latias, who doesn't get Dragon Claw. Then I don't know if you guys have this as well, but there's an easy way of remembering which one's which, and it's Latias is ass. So,
there we go.
And Latios is
a boss.
A boss. There you go.
Yeah. Hey, well done.
Lati boss. There you go. Some editing now for you, Matthew. You've got to do like a little Latios in a suit and like some graphs behind it. And now if you don't,
I could not do that. I could not do that.
You could, the viewers would be so disappointed.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah, exactly. If you're watching this and there isn't a Latios on the screen with a little suit and a little graph behind him, little boss Latios.
Riding on top of Shadow Raikou, though.
Riding on top of Shadow Raikou. Oh, God, do you know what? I don't know who wins between Shadow Raikou and Latios. I mean, if you land the Shadow Ball, then obviously, but we'll get into it. Anyway, so my first paragraph is titled Latios Inspiration, and the person that has inspired me to run Latios is Savageboii 69420, who is Denmark's current number 1 and world number 15. It was his Continentals run where he went 6-1 with a Latios. And I just thought that like properly blew my mind to win your regional and then like have the audacity to like run super spice in Continentals. And so one of our locals, our local Wandering Maisie, who won it, we were watching the tournament live because it wasn't being, I don't think it was being streamed anywhere, but we were like keeping up with how Chris was doing and looking at it. But I was just looking at this Savageboii 69420. I was like, he's 5-0 with a Latios. That's just nuts. And he ended up going 6-1, so he didn't. And Memphis Flow went on to take EU. But yeah, ever since then I was like, man, I've got to find myself a Latios and I've got to use a Latios as soon as possible. And this is looking like the first opportunity that I can actually use it. I mean, I've run it a little bit in Retro Cup and it's great fun. And I'll get onto why. Yeah, so in a tweet afterwards, he attributed he said that he just like learnt the matchups of like 60 of the most common Pokemon that he'd play against, and he had like a ton of notes, and he just mastered it. And I'm like, fuck me, I'm never going to put that much work in, but I respect the grind,
Ask him for the notes.
Yeah.
That was just a shout,
yeah. Yeah, there's a King has like a 49-minute video of his entire run as well, so if you want to see some Latios in action, yeah, that's on YouTube somewhere.
I'll try and find it and put it in the description if I can find it.
Yeah. Oh, that's really kind of you.
There we go.
So
it's not quite in a suit.
No, yeah. The least you could do. Yeah. So next segment is how to get a Great League eligible at Latios, because that in itself is a challenge. So Latios was a research breakthrough 2 years ago in May 2019 to August 2019, and it's not been back in rotation since. And what's more is during those rotations, they were diluted by Latias, Ho-Oh, and Lugia, and then also Latias, Kyogre, and Groudon. So you had a 1 in 4 chance of getting a Latios, which wasn't Great League eligible because a 10-10-10 was 1560 CP. So then you had to trade it, and people have just like thrown away their shitty Latioses since then, and people have quit. So we're in this situation where I'm pretty sure there's like a finite amount of Latios out there, and you've got to get your mitts on them before they go.
What I will say just quickly is, if you're in
Yeah, go on.
Leeds by any chance, there's no chance that you're going to get older one, because I went through them all in Leeds trying to get one for Sinister Cup. I think I traded 18. I think I traded for 18 Latios from either someone who was like a good friend or like either one star or one gift or like one set of gift or whatever. Is it good friends and okay friends? I don't know. Yeah, so I spent about 350,000 Stardust failing to get a Latios in Leeds. So if you are in Leeds, good luck. But
You'd have been a maniac running it in Sinister.
why?
All the ghosts?
Yeah, but all the
Which we're
fighters,
going to go into.
all the fighters and psychics as well. Like
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
all
Yeah,
the
so
steals too. Sorry, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
no,
yes,
that's
yes.
so yeah, Niantic decided at the end of 2019, they're like, we're not giving you any more legendaries. So yeah, I think there's a finite amount of Latios out there, and yeah, try and grab one. So the 5 IV floor of best trends, it makes it possible to get one with 5 attack to be eligible, but it's just harder, obviously. So yeah, you're really looking for those like new friends to find it. My IV on my Latios are 155, and he's rank 1,397. He's a good lad. But yeah, so right. So this first real segment of it is my comparison is to a Dragonite. Very, very similar stat product. They've got pretty much the same attack IV. Latios has a higher defense. Dragonite's lower defense, obviously. Lower stamina, higher stamina. So their stat products are pretty much identical. So they've both got Dragon Claw. They both got Dragon Breath. So if you've ever played with a Dragonite, you're kind of going to know how to play with Latios. It's kind of going to be able to take the same amount of hits that a Dragonite would. But the difference is the second move that you're packing on the Latios is going to be Psychic, whereas you'd have Hurricane on the Dragonite. Latios also gets Solar Beam, but there is just absolutely no play for Solar Beam in this cup. First of all, you're never going to get to it.
Never gonna get there.
And second of all, the Pokemon that you're going to get to it against, like a Whiscash or a Quagsire, they're not going to want to take a Psychic either. So I just feel like you're just playing the bait games at the more extreme ends of the scale than are really necessary. So Hurricane and Psychic have like really similar DPEs, but Psychic is actually quicker to get to. Does 90 damage and Hurricane does 110, but it just hits. It's a nuke basically from Latios because it's just so glassy. So Latios has got a really, really interesting typing, which is Dragon Psychic, and it's the only Dragon Psychic aside from Latias in the game. I mean, I looked this up. There's also a Pokemon called Necrozma, and it gets an Ultra form, but that's not a real Pokemon.
Yeah, Gen 8.5 or something like that. Yeah.
It'll get up a picture. It looks like a choking hazard.
If it's not on Pokemon Go, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. It honestly, it's a weird ass looking Pokemon. So Latios is the only Pokemon that is typing, and Latias obviously. It still has the fighting resistance that Dragonite has, but it gains a Bug, Ghost, and Dark weakness. Dark, there aren't any Dark types in the meta, but obviously the Dark type moves. The Bug typing is, I don't know how much Bug we'll see. Depends on how well Ariados gets buffed. If it still remains a 1-pick, I don't know whether they're going to change that or not, but probably not. And obviously the Ghost weakness. This is kind of like the Achilles heel to it. Is it's going to be weak to Lick, but running it in retro, like you're gonna have to use shields, but the Dragon Breaths are just really, really oppressive anyway. So like you can still do like quite a lot to like Munchlaxes and Lickies and absolutely nothing to Lickitungs because it's a bloody vessel.
Yeah. But with it being comparison compared to Dragonite, like it's not like Dragonite wants to take licks anyway. Like
that's true.
Yeah. Sorry.
Famously, Dragonite hates being licked. Get an image of that up.
My search history after this is going to be all over the place. Like,
you're going to be on the watch list.
Yeah, well, let's not go there again.
Oh god. Yeah, so with the flying type, with the psychic type, sorry, without the flying, you lose that 4 times ice weakness, which is really nice. You're not going to want to be taking any weather balls regardless, but it means that you don't get farmed down quite as quickly by stuff like Articuno, by or Bomber Snow if the Bomber Snow wants to just commit to a farm down. And it loses its rock weakness, which I think is really cool. Gains back its electric type resistance, which is cool. Which obviously Dragonite's neutral to that. And it also gains a psychic resistance, which is really cool because it means that it beats pretty much all confusion users, with the exception of Venomoth and Cresselia in the ones. So yeah, it's just got this really, really interesting typing. And yeah, so what I'm leading up to is I think Double Dragon is going to be really, really strong. And the reason why is Steel and Fairy are the only types that resist Dragon type attacks, and they're both banned. So there are no Fairies, there are no Steels. You know, your Dragon Breath and your Dragon Claws are always going to be hitting something for neutral damage at the very least. And I think that Psychic and Dragon Claw has really, really good coverage. So that's that. So yeah, doubling down on dragons is the next one, and Latios is so good because it's a 1-point pick. Dragonite is a 4-point pick. Gudra is a 4-point pick. Dragonair is a 6-point pick, and Altaria is a 10-point pick. So all your other Dragon Breathers.
What about Kingdra?
Kingdra is also a 6-point pick. So Kingdra.
Sorry, Kingdra, love it over here.
Oh man. If I could show you my Word document, it's got Kingdra there, and it's
What you were going to say? If I could show you something else, then.
Kingdra's the one that I would pair it with. I think Kingdra's super safe. It can bait out what Latios fears, I feel, as like a safe switch if you want to do an ABB or lead the Kingdra and see how you go. But yeah, so you've got all the other dragons are all the other useful dragons are more than 1 point. So your Gudra, Dragonite, Kingdra, Dragonair, Altaria. I can see his little face. I can see it.
Yeah, triggered.
He's got a Dragalge on the tip of his tongue. And trust me, I've got a little section for Dragalge as well. So there's also Shelgon, but it gets Twister and Flamethrower, bit wank, and then
straight to the point.
Yeah. Get him in the bin, bloody Werther's original looking ass. Right, and then Dragalge as well. Dragalge is also a 1-point pick, but I don't know how they're gonna change Dragon Tail. If they make it a Charm clone, then maybe that'd be pretty spooky. But
it won't be a 1-point pick anymore, surely.
Yeah. I don't know. So it depends on how they take Dragon Tail, but I wouldn't. If I was going to double dragon, I wouldn't want to double dragon with a Dragalge.
No.
God, that's a tongue twister. But yeah, so in Retro Cup, I didn't do masses of Retro Cup, but when I did, I paired it with a Frostas. And obviously Frostas is a 10-point pick, but that's the beauty of Latios, is it's a 1-point pick. So it means you get a 6-point pick dragon and a 10-point pick if you want it. And then you've got 3 other 1 points. So if you wanted a double dragon before, you were going to have to go Dragonair, so let's say Kingdra Dragonite, and then you can't get a 10-point pick, so then you've got to fill it up with rest of like lower point picks. So I think I'd run it with Lickitung if I had a Lickitung built. But I think Frostas would do really well, and then I can find a normal type to kind of fit the gap. But yeah, so I'm really excited to use it in battle because, like I said, I was massively inspired by Savageboii when he ran it, and I've just been looking for an opportunity to do it. Let's see minutes. Yeah, so it beats all fighters except for Medicham and Primate.
Except for the 2 really common ones, yeah?
Yeah, I know, right? I was so sad to see it on the sim, but yeah, Ice Punch just hurts. So does Night Slash, unfortunately. But it depends on how you play it. I feel like if you if you lead like a Frostlass, swap in your Kingdra, and then get whatever Kingdra's like lose switch, not necessarily intentionally, but so that you can come in and get a bit of an energy advantage, it's going to hit so hard. And I think people just worry it's got outrage as well. So when you're in that outrage range, they're a bit like, oh shit, you know, and then they shield. So that's good. And yeah, so it beats. So what it does beats Hypno, unless Hypno has Ice Punch, but who's running Ice Punch?
Who's running Hypno?
What?
Nobody better be after the last.
No one's
2
running
months.
Hypno, surely. It's
No,
God,
yeah,
no.
oh, it's a 10-point pick, isn't it? Yeah, so yeah, everyone's probably bored of that. But yeah, it beats Deoxys, which is a big one. I think it beats Jellicent, Politoed, Ninetales, and as I mentioned earlier, all Confusion users. And I think so. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily rank very highly. The list of things it beats isn't that impressive, but I think when you pair it with another dragon, and then you just have that oppressive Dragon Breath damage, that you can force people to misplay and end up having to shield the wrong thing, having to shield low cost moves like Dragon Claw, and then Frostlass loves that because you know it's such a hard hitter. And then I've got losses here as bullet pointed as nothing of any significance. So
there we go.
there you go. The floor is open to questions. Should we have a look how it plays against Raikou? That'd be quite interesting. Wouldn't it?
Are you going to use the? Have you got a shiny one down there?
Oh,
Do you know what?
That would just be the cream.
the odds of that.
Do you know what? I don't think the shiny was eligible when it was in the research box.
Well, see, when we found out the pick, I like literally, because I can't remember which one was which. I like looked and I'm like, I've got a blue one, like a peppermint blue type of.
Yeah, that sort of minty greeny.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the hell's that one? Because I've got it called 96 IV, so I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
So have you got any research breakthrough Latios?
I've got one.
Ooh.
It's, I think it's a 15, 14, 13. Like, so
Garbage. Bin
anybody wants that?
Yeah.
I'll trade it you. I'm never going to use it.
Yeah, 40 kilometer things. Anybody within 40k of me?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, true.
I might be within 40k of Mansfield. We'll check that afterwards. But
yeah. We've still got a couple hours.
yeah.
Oh, that'd be a great end, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. That'd be amazing.
At the end. Yeah, I managed to. I found a local WhatsApp group and I just entered and I was like, "Hey guys, anyone got any Latios?" and then just pilfered them all from all these people and then just left the group.
I should do.
Just left with my little Latios knapsack. But yeah, oh no, shit's all over Raikou, mate.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Yeah, I can't
Oh,
imagine
Dragon
Raikou gets the
Breath.
2 Shadow Balls. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it fires off the wild charge, and then dies. So it does. It tries to back, and then just dies.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet that's one of those where Thundershock helps it. But yeah, I don't know whether it's getting to 2 even then. But yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I guess as well, it might pick up some more kind of prevalence depending on how well the poisons are buffed. Because we're seeing more poisons and psychic type. Just having psychic is just nice coverage.
Yeah. Yeah. Jay, you're a big Kingdra fan. Double Dragon appealing here? Yes? No?
I'm not really that much of a fan of Double Dragon, but like I tried it and I just sucked at it. Like, so I mean, Kingdra, I love it, and nine times out of 10, if I'm able to use it, I'll use it. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of like the ABB kind of stuff. That's just my playstyle.
I think when I tried a bit of Double Dragon in Vortex, which is a little bit similar in that there was no Charmers and there was Prelopass, but there was very few Steel types. And I just always felt like the control was in my opponent's hands, not mine. And I just, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. But there's teams out there, like I did a practice tournament tonight and came up against the Shadow Dragonite, so I know this for a fact because my team is one of those teams. There are teams out there that it will just floor. And yeah, obviously, if you come up against those, you're golden, and it's then pairing it with the right things to cover the teams that have got. You might come up against a team that's got Drifblim, Mew, Abomasnow, and Gyarados in the same team, and in that case, you're practically down to 4 picks at that point.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure those other 4 really cover each other well.
I think, I think Double Dragon is the only way I could possibly get Latios to work. I just don't think you could run it without it. I think it's too much of a weak pick on its own.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Cool. Well, should we go on to your pick then, Matt? Really, really bloody spicy. This really spicy. Well, I mean, no more spicy than Latios, I don't know, but we'll have to decide that. Yeah.
Right. Well, my pick this evening is Pokedex number 494, or Dan's going to love this, the Unova Pokedex number 000, Victory Pokemon Victini. Now, Victini is an absolute weapon. Like, anybody that's ever used it before will know. He can cause some serious problems to teams. I've got an absolute ton of sims and stuff in front of me to go through, so I'll get stuck in. Straight away, 1v1 Shields. He's got a 62 win rate. He loses to a lot of 10-point picks. So Hypno, AWAC, Frostglass, Altaria, Cresselia. You're only going to see one of them. So,
if that.
Yeah. Yeah, on a team you're only going to see one, so you can cover it with the rest of your sort of comp. Going into another couple of picks that he'll lose against. Before I come to the good stuff, what he beat. I'm just down selling him already. So Defense Deoxys, Regirock, Swampert. He's going to lose to those. But in ones, he will beat Galvantula, Eutropius, Talonflame, Ninetales, sorry Holmesy, Medicham, all fighters, I think pretty much all fighters, and like pretty much all ghosts. He's got confusion. He's going to hit that like an absolute truck. He's a very technical Pokemon. He's not the easiest. You've got to put in a lot of work to understand how he plays and how he plays in a team. So again, as seems to be my common theme, I pick a Pokemon and then put everybody around him. I'm not going to tell you what I'm putting around him because it's regional month. I'll give you one pick. I'm picking Victini.
Fair.
So, there's some big names on there. Onto where he's sort of better and most effective is like a 2-to-1 shield scenario. He goes up to an 89% win rate, and that's beating stuff like Mew, Pelipper. He'll beat Munchlax up at that rate. So with him, you've got to have something paired that is going to break some shields down, put some shield pressure on straight away, setting yourself up for that situation to be in a 2-to-1 shield, and he can pretty much run through a team. He's got a couple of different moves that you can play him with. Obviously with V-Create being the key one, you cannot run him without that. But you can go proper wild, Focus Blast. That's going to have a buff into it next month.
Yeah.
So,
or you're running.
Or Psychic. A lot of the sims are done with Psychic. It's a bit more energy efficient. I was looking between the two. Focus Blast doesn't give you the wins that Psychic will give you. But where Victini's sort of set-up play comes in, so if you put him in a 1v1 shield scenario with a 1 confusion lead, he has an overall on the board 71% win rate. and then he's picking up a lot of interesting stuff that he wasn't. So he will pick up the Frostglass, pick up the Cresselia. He's beating Vigoroth. He's also beating Kingdra.
Oh wow!
Which it's close, but a 1 confusion lead is not too difficult to get with him.
No.
Again, you've got to set him up. And yeah, Kingdra's a big one that I was like, wow, okay. Alolan Graveler, which, yeah, you know, he's going to be out there. I'm sure somebody will run him.
Yeah.
You'll also...
It was in my first draft.
Oh, well, there you go. Jellicent and either Hex variant or Bubble, whichever one you fancy running, he will beat. He has about 50% health at the end of taking the big jellyfish down.
Good lord.
So I'm not going to stop there though. If you up it to a 2 confusion lead in 1v1, he goes up to 83%. But again, this is setting him up. I'm going to give you the full strategy. You've got to use him as a lead. You've got to catch your opponent off guard. You get the couple of confusions out, swap it around, chop it around. But then he's picking up some big names. Dragonair, Dragonite, and that's Shadow and non-Shadow. He's beating Gudra and Gyarados, and also Dewgong, which are all big names because he's not beaten them before that. So he, again, you've got to set him up. You've got to practice with him. Practice. I must have. Well, I think it was one of the cups this month. This season that I played him in, and I was running my team in the cup in GBL practice, just throw everything at me, and then see what I can do. And it gave me so much confidence with him that I'm happy to stick him straight back in the squad and power through. But you know, sometimes it's not about winning the Pokemon. You can get stuff like farmable. So Altaria, he can take to a 9 HP. So Altaria's got 9 HP. Come in, farm it. And Altaria's got no energy left at that point. He has to fire off his Sky Attack to kill you. Snorlax, he'll get down to 8 HP. Stunfisk, he can get down to 2. Mantine gets down to 9. Licky Tongue is just a game over. You've got no chance.
I mean, unless you land a Focus Blast.
Oh,
Well.
I ran the sim just to see if I could put it out there. No, you die. You can't get to it.
Nah. Oh man.
So yeah, Licky has 11 HP left, and Lapras, but only Ice Shard variant, will be left with a single HP.
Bloody hell.
So, go on, Matt.
I was going to say, I think what we've got here is a huge contrast between the Ninetales that Hosey was on about, where it's less reliable against some of the things you want it to be, but some of those names you reeled off, like dragon types, water types, you know, lickers. Ninetales are going to give you that. Like
I was sat watching the video last night, and I heard him talking about Ninetales. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, you just wait.
It's almost like a completely different mon. Like,
yeah,
despite it shares a typing, and that's about it. But you're still walling Abomas now, which is.
Oh, Abomas. Oh, sorry, I didn't tell you his absolute just tramps in wins. Abomasnow dies.
Yeah.
He can't touch you. Yeah. Shadow and normal.
Yeah.
I think I said Medicham. He absolutely hammers Medicham, and even Wishcash. You can beat a Mudboy.
Pretty wild.
I bet
It's
the nice
very
thing
close.
about I was gonna say I bet the nice thing about a Abomasnow as well is the Abomasnow doesn't even die quickly because it's confusion. It's like a slow, painful farm down. You just come out of it absolutely jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think the interesting thing as well with the, am I right in thinking it also gets overheat?
yes, you can go full nuke.
Because,
But
well, I mean, you're losing the versatility, but V-Create, it's a triple defense drop. It's the 3-stage defense drop, isn't it, I think? And
yeah, you're very
sometimes,
weak after.
yeah, sometimes you don't want that.
I mean, I'm a big fan of overheat.
Yeah.
I've been landing overheats for days in GVL.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think did you have a little picture on Twitter of them all?
Yeah. I've had more. I've got more on my phone. Every time I land one, I'm like, screenshot.
Just a montage of like
Yeah.
overeats.
Yeah. But yeah, sometimes like because the second overheat's still mad powerful, and a second V-Create will be as well after an attack drop. Sometimes it's worth having that option rather than having a defense drop because it might let you get to a second one. I mean, obviously then you're completely walled by Kingdras and things like that, so you are losing that versatility. But it's there as an option.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is the play where you've got to play around with it, and it's got to go to suit how you want it to slot into your team. If you want to run it, I'm going to run it, and I'm going to win.
Excellent.
Talk, I love it.
Awesome. Yeah, Elliot.
Between us, we've got a pretty. Imagine our team if we ran all 4 of these.
I'm literally thinking right now, like I'm gonna do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Run it with a frost. Run it all 4 with a Frostlass and an Altaria or something like that. That's the beauty of them. Like you can still do it.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I mean, I like Victini, so there's nothing. I mean, I don't have a Latios, so
yeah,
I'm gonna try and get one, Elliot.
Oh, thank you.
And I'll run it for you if I do. But if I don't, I apologise.
Matt, do you want to see if we're within trading distance?
Oh, go on then. I'll load up. See if we can get one live.
Let's see it. I mean, watch this be the biggest anticlimax, and we're not
you
actually.
Share your screen and everything as well at the same time.
I'll record it. There we go. But what if we're not actually if we're not actually within trading distance? This is like the most anticlimactic thing ever.
I'm wandering around the house for a bit.
Sure, just in case it's 2 meters difference.
Yeah. Oh, here we go then.
There you go.
Oh, we're in.
We're in. Oh. Now have I got a Latios? I don't have a spare Latios. Is there anything else you're after?
Oh, just Pidgey. Have you got a Pidgey?
I've got a Pidgey. No, I actually haven't got a Pidgey.
Do you even play
Send them a
Pokemon,
gibble.
Matt?
I can give you. Do you know what? I can give you a Gust Pidgeot, I think.
Ooh, yes. I'll have one of those then.
Oh yeah, Feather Dance is coming.
Here we go. Special trade.
No, send them an Articuno.
Yeah.
Well, the anticipation here.
Guy's doing it.
I hope it works for you. I really do.
This is top content. This.
You need to show us your phone.
Yeah.
Put your phone to the camera. 1501.
Yeah. What was it?
15.99. 15.99. Yeah.
No.
There we go. That's another Latios to my list, but worth a go, wasn't it? Cheers, Matt. How was the Pidgeot
anticipation then?
Terrible IVs, but
it's always the way,
IVs don't matter till they matter, eh?
That's it. IVs don't matter until they matter. Oh dear. Right, guys, should we call it a night?
What a low. What a way to finish on a low. You know what I mean? I was proper pumped for that then, but
that would have literally been the dream, wouldn't it?
It would. It'd have been quality that. But oh dear. At least we know we're in trading distance, Matt. Anyway, now because
yeah, for next time.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Right. Well, thank you very much, guys. It's been a good laugh. Yeah. Viability across the board, I feel.
Strong viability. Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of different play styles as well.
Yeah,
Gonna check the
absolutely.
IVs on my Victini.
Mine was shocking for PvP, but I made it anyway.
Yeah, well, that's it. Same. It's such a unique mon Victini in it that it's not like having a bad IV Victini can be replaced by a really good IV something else. Like
Yeah, it's different. It's a unique role in it with like V-Create and that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, guys. Well, yeah, thank you very much, and best of luck with regionals, everyone. Again, apart from Jay, who's in mine. So, Matt, are you in mine as well?
No, I'm Nottingham on. I am.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah.
And
Good luck,
everybody.
guys.
Thanks for having me on, Matt.
Pleasure.
Yeah, nice one, dude.
Thanks, guys. Take
Catch you
care.
later, guys. Bye.
Bye.